Havoc Demon Hunter has changed a lot since I started playing it in Battle for Azeroth. The gameplay has gone from smashing your keyboard with an open hand and eating a hot pocket with the other to staring intently at your screen, closely monitoring buff uptimes and hitting a series of buttons that even a polydactyl chimp would struggle with. That means it's a lot of buttons to press. Thankfully, it's not that hard once you understand it, and once you master it, it'll feel like second nature. The Essence Break combo is a crucial part of many of the popular builds you see people playing at the moment. Basically, any build that goes down the left side of the talent tree will be utilizing this series of abilities. Of course, there are some builds that do things a little differently, but that's a topic for another video. So the basic idea of Essence Break is this. You're lining up Demonic, the Initiative buff, the Momentum buff, and Essence Break to do massive damage within a short amount of time. For context, Initiative gives 12% extra crit chance, which also feeds into crit damage via Know Your Enemy. Momentum is an extra 8% damage, and Essence Break increases Annihilation and Death Sweep damage by a whopping 80%. Sounds like a lot of damage, right? Well, it is, but you need to use your abilities in a certain order to make sure all of those buffs line up correctly. For the sake of demonstration, we'll be using the standard Mythic Plus AoE build. You can find the import string along with a cheat sheet in my Discord, link is in the description. So as you can see, this build has the entire left side of the talent tree selected. We have Initiative to give us crit when we engage a new mob, and when we Vengeful Retreat, Unbound Chaos for more Fel Rush damage, Tactical Retreat to reduce the cooldown on Vengeful Retreat and make it generate 80 Fury, Momentum for the 8% damage buff, which is naturally triggered by Vengeful Retreat, Know Your Enemy for extra crit damage, which works hand in hand with Initiative, and finally, Essence Break. With all this in mind, the opener looks like this. I'm not going to include Throw Glaive in this explanation because there are variations of the build that don't spec into Throw Glaive talents, or maybe you'll take Glaive Tempest instead. Essentially, Throw Glaive or Glaive Tempest would be slotted in right before your first I-Beam and after your second Death Sweep. So the first thing we'll look at is the opener with the Essence Break combo. Now again, with this build, it's not going to be 100% accurate because I do have Throw Glaive talents, which you would slot into this opener in the spots that I said earlier. You're not going to see this in this demonstration, but just know that that's where you would put it. You would also want to be popping any trinkets pre-pull. For example, if you have the puzzle box, you would want to be using that on pull as well as a pre-pot. You know, everything you need to use going into a raid fight, you would want to use that. I'm not showing that in this video because I don't want to waste potions. They cost a lot of money. So we're going to do a pull timer. At 2 seconds, we're going to drop Sigil of Flame. Then we're going to Immolation Aura, Fel Rush for Unbound Chaos, The Hunt, I-Beam to get into Demonic, Vengeful Retreat. You can go over the mobs, ideally. This will keep you in melee range, so you don't have to find a way to get back in. If for whatever reason you can't go directly over the mob's hitbox, you have to go away from them. At that point, you can use Fel Blade or Fel Rush to get back into range. You can see here I'm actually just going over the mobs though. And while I'm in the air, I'm Essence Breaking. So you can see my actions are down here in the bottom right. We started with Sigil of Flame, Immolation Aura. We Fel Rushed in to use Unbound Chaos. We used the Hunt. Then we used I-Beam to get into Demonic and Vengeful Retreat and Essence Break at the same time. And you can see here above my Weak Aura package here, you can see all the buffs that are rolling. So let's scroll back just a little bit. We're going to start right here at the start of the opener. You can see because we hit the mob the first time, we have Initiative rolling there as well as Unbound Chaos. So we're going to spend Unbound Chaos, which gives us 4 seconds of momentum. At that point, we're going to use the Hunt, which also refreshes our momentum. Then we're going to I-Beam, which is still within the Initiative window because you can see we're tracking the buff right above our Weak Aura there. You can see as I start I-Beaming, it's still within Initiative, so we're getting that crit damage. All right, it's still going. Then it falls off, and then we Vengeful Retreat to reactivate Initiative and Momentum. And we're going to Essence Break at the same time. So Essence Break is benefiting from both of those buffs. And then we start with our Death Sweep, our first Death Sweep. You can see it's still benefiting from all of the buffs that we need it to. Initiative, Momentum, we're still in Demonic, and we have the 80% extra damage from Essence Break. You can see the Essence Break debuff is still on all the enemies here. So we're going to do one Death Sweep. Then we're going to meta. And as soon as we land, we're going to do our final death sweep. And you can see we just squeeze that death sweep in. It's still getting buffed by initiative and momentum as well. And that's the best way that you can squeeze both of those death sweeps inside of all of those buffs for maximum damage. So now from here, we're going to move on from the opener, and we're just going to look at, your average use of this Essence Break combo outside of an opener, because you're not always going to have meta available to get those 2 death sweeps, right? So we're going to just look at a regular usage of it. You're going into a pull, you don't have meta. This is what it might look like. So you're going to drop Sigil of Flame, Immolation Aura again. You're going to Fell Rush, use the Hunt. Then you're going to I-Beam, Vengeful Retreat. Again, see here, I'm going over the pack of mobs here, going through their hitbox. This is just a bit more convenient, a bit more optimal than, say, Vengeful Retreating out this way. Going over their hitbox just keeps you in melee range a bit better. So we're Vengeful Retreating and Essence Breaking, then we get back in, Death Sweep, Annihilation, Annihilation. So essentially what's happening here is because we don't have meta to reset the Death Sweep cooldown with Chaotic Transformation, what we're trying to fit into our Essence Break window is essentially 1 Death Sweep and 2 Annihilations, as opposed to with meta, we would get 2 Death Sweeps and 1 Annihilation, right? So we're just switching it a little bit. So that's your Essence Break combo. After that, you're kind of going into a down phase, and a lot of players that I talk to, they make a mistake here. This is where it goes wrong for them, because they don't do what they need to be doing in this down phase as you're waiting for Essence Break and I-Beam to come back. What you need to make sure that you're doing is using Vengeful Retreat when it comes off cooldown, because remember, Vengeful Retreat gives you not only initiative, but it gives you 80 Fury. It's your biggest Fury generator in this build, so if you're not using it, you're probably just going to be standing there doing nothing, just feeling like you're doing no damage, because technically you're not, right? Because you don't have the Fury to do anything. So you have to make sure that you're using Vengeful Retreat between each Essence Break window. So you'll see it's going to be coming up in about 5 seconds here. My ability's down here at the bottom. You can see 4 seconds, 3 seconds. I'm just kind of doing what I can. And then I'm going to Vengeful Retreat. All right. Get back in there. Utilize that initiative. Do a Blade Dance, whatever else I can to do the most damage as possible. And now you can see I-Beam is coming up off cooldown. And we can see Essence Break is up and Vengeful Retreat. So now we're going to I-Beam to get back into Demonic. And Vengeful Retreat, Essence Break. And get back in there. Death Sweep, Annihilation, Annihilation. So on and so forth. So that's what your entire kind of combat is going to look like. You're going between 2 phases. You're going to have your Essence Break window phase, which is your big period of massive damage, like big burst damage. And then in between, you're still going to have a little bit of burst, but it's a kind of like a maintenance sort of, like you're just chilling. You're chilling until you get to your next Essence Break window. Now, keep in mind, if you are playing with Throw Glaive or you're playing with Glaive Tempest, it's a great time to use both of those abilities in between those Essence Break windows after initiative. After you use that Vengeful Retreat in between Essence Break windows, that's a great time to throw down a Glaive Tempest, because it's going to benefit from that extra crit chance and the crit damage from Know Your Enemy. Same with, Throw Glaive. It's a great time to toss out some Glaives. You Vengeful Retreat back, Throw Glaive. The damage from that is going to get buffed by initiative, and that's going to feed into Soul Rend, which will just do more damage. So that's a great time for you to be using those abilities and freeing them up, so you don't feel like you have to use them inside of your Essence Break window, because that's the worst time to use those. You don't want to disrupt getting a Death Sweep or 2 Death Sweeps inside of that Essence Break window. You want to make sure the only abilities you're pressing inside of Essence Break are Death Sweep and Annihilation. And that's the Essence Break playstyle summed up for you. Again, if you guys want cheat sheets and build import strings, you can go to my Discord. Link is in the description. And I'll be posting another video soon showcasing another build that I've been messing around with, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. I describe this one as a mix of the Boomer and the Zoomer builds. It's pretty comical. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.